Hi, this is Cassie Garcia with Sew and Grow Together, and today I'm going to walk you through what we do to make elderberry tincture.
Hey, and welcome. We are three families who come together to help each other grow in our faith, family, homesteading, and whatever else life throws our way. Join us on this journey as we sew and grow together.
So first, let's walk through all of the ingredients that we're going to use. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about each one and why we include it. So the main one here is elderberry. Now, I have a friend who has her own elderberry bushes, and she freezes the berries in 1 pound bags until they're needed. So I have a bag from her. I use one 1 pound bag for 1 half-gallon jar when I'm making my elderberry tincture. Elderberry is really great. A lot of berries, blueberries, different kind of berries, have a lot of good antioxidants and all of these great minerals and vitamins and all these things that are good for you, and usually they taste good too. Elderberries, not so much. They don't taste very sweet. A lot of people do like them in some jams, or there's elderberry wine, and there's different things you can make with the elderberry where you taste it. But it does not have that sweet berry taste that you might be thinking of when you think of blackberries or raspberries or strawberries or blueberries even. They're a little more bitter, and if you eat a whole bunch of them raw, it could cause a little bit of stomach ache if you just went out and ate them off the bush. Although I'll be honest, I can't imagine wanting to just eat a whole bunch of them straight off the bush because, like I said, they're not the most sweet and exciting berry out there. They're also very small. I don't know if you can see. I'll show you a little closer here in a minute when we rinse these. They're a little small, but these things pack quite a punch. So like many berries you may be familiar with, they're full of vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, all these great things. They can also help fight inflammation. And there is some evidence that they may be antiviral. If you have any kind of virus, they can help it not be able to replicate. So you can look more into that. It's really interesting. There's a lot of interesting research out there. It can just help give your immune system that extra boost that it needs. It's really awesome. So this is really the base of this particular tincture that I'm talking about today is elderberry, but we are going to add a few more things on top of the elderberry. We are also going to add Astragalus root. I think that's how you say it. This is a chopped and dried, dehydrated root we've purchased, and it's really kind of neat. It also is an immune booster. It helps boost your immune system, reduce inflammation. It has been shown to help fight certain cancers. You can look into that for more information. I'm not an expert on Astragalus, but I'd say it's definitely worth a second look. It can help with certain heart issues, diabetes, more. I could just go on and on. This is a really interesting ingredient here. Another ingredient that I'm using is Mullien. And this I did purchase, and I'm trying to use it up because right now we are currently dehydrating a bunch of Mullien from just our backyard because it grows around here like weeds. And for some reason I didn't collect any last year and I ended up having to buy some. But we've got it everywhere. So now we are collecting, dehydrating, and storing them in jars so we don't have to do that again. Mullien is excellent for helping with respiratory issues. It's a natural expectorant, helps soothe the lungs and throat, and I'm putting it in this particular tincture because often when we're needing a little boost in the winter, there's some kind of a lung cough kind of thing going on. So I like to put Mullien in here to help with that as a side issue on top of just boosting our immune system, and it doesn't hurt. So Mullen Leaf, and this is dehydrated. I will also be using a little bit of Cayenne Pepper. This acts as kind of an activator. The little bit of Cayenne Pepper in this tincture, you don't really taste it. I'm going to show you how you don't really taste the tincture at all anyway, but the little bit of Cayenne Pepper in here just helps activate, wake up your body. It's warming, it's activating, and your body will be more ready to receive all the other great ingredients coming at it when it's kind of awake. And my final ingredient is vodka. I just got this at Sam's Club. Pretty cheap. I use it because Vodka is flavorless. It doesn't have a lot of other ingredients or any kind of, it's not fancy. It doesn't have flavor or color, so I can see exactly what's going on. But it acts as, number one, a preservative. This thing has a really long shelf life. Also, because it has both alcohol and water in it in certain percentages, when something soaks in alcohol, it will extract the properties of that thing. Like if you've made a vanilla extract and you put vanilla beans, you might cut them open so that there's more surface area showing, and you soak it in alcohol over a period of time, and the alcohol gets that vanilla flavor in it, and we use that in cooking or baking. Both the alcohol and the water will be extracting different things, different properties from the ingredients that I'm going to put in these jars. So it will be doing the job of extracting. It will also preserve, disinfect, all of those things. I don't have to worry about, now my jars are clean, but I haven't just sterilized them or anything like that. Nothing too crazy. I'm going to put all my ingredients in here, cover it with vodka, and then put a lid on. And that's really all there is to it for now. So this is one of those things, it takes a lot of time. It takes about 6 weeks before this is going to be ready, but it does not take very much effort. So we're just going to add the ingredients to the jar, cover with vodka, and then every once in a while, every few days, I'm going to shake it. So I will be storing this jar on a shelf that does not get sunlight, but that I can see. I have some covered shelves over here that are open that I can see, but they don't get direct sunlight. Just always a good idea to protect things that you're trying to preserve from sunlight. Which is why when I bottle them, once I get them in their final bottles, we use the amber color, or there's also blue, that helps filter out sunlight. So this is our final product here. And when I was giving some of these away for Christmas or to friends, I had prettier labels. This was just a little piece of masking tape, so I know what it is. And I just wrote elderberry on it because I know what's in my elderberry tincture. When I gave some away, I have a little printout, I'll put it up here on the screen, of exactly what is in this and exactly what it's in there for. And so even if I couldn't fit it all on my little label that I had, I was able to give that to whoever had it so they could take a look. Is there anything you have an allergy to? Is there anything you have a concern about? It's all right there. But because I'm the one that made it and I know what's in it, and I only make one elderberry tincture and I can always look back at my ingredient list for my purposes, I just put elderberry on it. So when do I use this? I use elderberry tincture in the mornings with my kids. I will take first I shake the bottle. I'll take a few drops. This particular one, the dropper fills about halfway, and that is, that's all I'm gonna use for each kid, and I will put that half a dropper full in a small glass, and then I will fill the glass with a little bit of orange juice. It mixes in really well, and they don't even taste it. They don't notice it at all. And then we do this for, my husband and I do it for ourselves as well. I would use this if we've been around someone who is sick, if people are starting to get the sniffles or just act a little off, like their body might be fighting something, even if they don't have symptoms yet, that's when I break this thing out. And I really try to take care of it really quickly so it doesn't develop into something. So it gives their body that little boost of immunity so they don't hopefully continue. And we've really actually seen a lot of success with this. Another thing that I will make with the elderberries, and I've done this before when we are currently in a crisis of, oh my goodness, everybody's sick. There's snotty noses, there's coughing, there's all the things, sore throats, all those things. Usually it's sometime in winter. If something like that has hit, I will take out 2 bags of frozen elderberry, and I will use one to make elderberry syrup and one to make what I'm showing you today, the elderberry tincture. The syrup doesn't last very long. You have to keep it refrigerated, and you can drink it straight. We add honey to it, so it's sweeter. It's still, the kids aren't still a huge fan of the taste, but it's not bad. I put things like cinnamon and clove, which have other great benefits, anti-inflammatory and all these things. And I think that it improves the taste a little bit too, to add some of those other flavors. And then a whole bunch of honey, and we do it in water so there's no alcohol. And we simmer that down along with these other ingredients, and we make a syrup. And they will take just a little shot of it in the morning and sometimes another one in the evening. By the time we're out of the syrup, if everybody's still got some things going on, or if we need something a little later, by that time, a few weeks later, we're about ready with our tincture to start using it. So sometimes I will make them both at the same time. Today we're just going to make the elderberry tincture, and I'm going to start out with the elderberries. Now these were frozen after already being rinsed and cleaned. There still might be a little pieces of stem or things like that in here. It's been cleaned of dirt. I'm going to rinse it just because they were frozen and they were kind of solid together. I'm just going to give it a quick rinse to get some of the ice off and to break it up so it will fit in my jar. And if I see any stems or anything, I'll pick those out. It's not a make or break thing. I'm going to strain everything out of this liquid before I put it into the bottles. So if there happens to be a little stem in here, I'm not too worried about it. But I'm going to give this a quick rinse. All right, I've got my elderberry in here. I did use a funnel, it's just a stainless steel funnel, just to help make it a little neater going into the jar so I don't make a big mess. Now I'm going to put about half a cup of Mullien. Now I'm going to give the same spiel I always do. You can be as exact as you want. There's no way when you're using plants to determine exactly all the properties that are going to be in that. There's just so many variables. Depending on when they harvested, what part of the plant, how the nutrition of the soil, there's so many variables. And you can get caught up in all that and really stress out about it. Or you can just use the benefits of these plants. This is not an exact science. It's just not. So there are benefits in this plant. I want to get it in my body, in the body of my children, and I'm finding a way to do that. I don't want to sit here and chew on an Astragalus root. I don't like the taste. And I want to kind of combine some different things. The tincture will get those things out and put it in a form that I can put on my shelf and that I can easily use on the day that I need it in that moment without going out and picking a plant, without going out and still getting the use out of this plant. So that's why we're making a tincture, and that's not why I'm gonna have like measure how many ounces or be too crazy about all that. Don't overthink it. That's my general spiel. Don't overthink it. I'm going to take a little bit, maybe half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Give it a little bit of that waking up property. And there we go. Now all I've got to do is cover this in vodka. This is a 40% vodka. Don't buy the fancy stuff, don't buy the expensive stuff. It's just not necessary. But this is the same stuff I use to make vanilla extract. And that is just all there is to it, really. So simple. So what I'm gonna do here is just put a lid on it. I do have plastic lids. You can use a metal regular canning jar lid. You can make smaller amounts of this in regular quart jars, half pint jars, whatever, and just put less so you don't have to use up as much. The more you put in or the longer you let it soak, the stronger your extract or your tincture is going to be. So because there's alcohol in it, I don't want it to be up against the metal on a canning lid. You can just put a piece of parchment paper down and then screw the lid down. That works too. I have these plastic lids, and you may be concerned, okay, well, I don't like to put things in plastic because what if something leaches? It is not actually touching the plastic other than when I shake it very briefly. It's in the glass. So I'm not really worried about the plastic for that case, but alcohol on the metal can break that down, and you don't want metal in your tincture. That's no fun. So I'm going to just give this a good shake, and you can already see that it is purple. It is dark purple already. It went from clear to purple in no time flat. Those elderberries are pretty strong. So I'm just gonna set this on a shelf. Now, if you do this from frozen berries, you'll wanna be careful and leave it out till it gets to room temperature. If you put it somewhere on a shelf, it's gonna have condensation. If you're worried about, like, you know, a ring on your wooden shelf or anything like that, you may want to wait and dry it off after it's room temperature and then set it where you're gonna wanna put it. Another option other than frozen berries would be to use, you can pick them fresh, you can purchase them dried from a lot of places online. If you have a local herb store or a local natural place you can go ask about. I was actually connected to my friend who has elderberry bushes by somebody who sells stuff like this. They were able to connect me to the person that grows them. So that you might just ask around, and people who are doing this kind of stuff may have a connection that they can connect you with. The cool thing is there are actually a lot of elderberry bushes growing in the wild around here and a lot of the United States, and different varieties in like England and different places. So you may, if you go during the right time of the year, if you go in spring when the blooms are out, they're really easily recognizable. You'll see the bushes in forested areas, not just out in a field usually. It's usually around the forest, around the tree line, things like that. You might see bushes with that umbrella-like beautiful white flower. And then you can use the flowers. They're actually really great, and you can do all kinds of fun stuff with them too. They have really great properties and they smell heavenly. Or you can wait for the berries. I did find some along our road, and the birds got to all the berries before I could. So I was able to get some starts from my friend, and we're working on growing our own bushes here at the house. But in the meantime, it's handy to know someone local that has them. But if you don't stress. They're not that expensive to purchase. Dried ones online on Amazon, different places sell them, and you can pretty easily make that. I started because to purchase a bottle about this size might have been between $10 and $20, and even including the vodka and all the ingredients, what I have in this jar, I haven't calculated it. It's minuscule compared to that, and I can make like 20 of these for that amount. So for us, and we just make enough to give away to friends as gifts and use it ourselves whenever we need it. We keep it for use all year whenever the need arises. So I hope this is helpful. Let me know if you try it. We've been doing this for a couple years now and have seen some really great results as far as our immune boosting and sickness, the length of our sicknesses really coming down. So I'm pretty impressed with it. I've had other people that say it seemed to really help. I hope this helped you, and I'm really curious if you try it out or if you've done something similar. I'd love to hear about how it worked for you and what you did. So drop a comment down below. Let us know any of your thoughts on it, and we will see you next time. Thanks for joining us today.